both the vice president and the vice president have insisted that Bidenomics is in fact working. And as we head into the election, the economy is still one of the biggest issues that on voters' minds. A recent survey from Gallup shows that the confidence in the economy is down and has been in pretty poor shape since over the past 4 years.
Yeah, meanwhile, a lackluster jobs report, and I'm being kind, came out, sending stocks way down and casting a reel of doubt onto just exactly how much the so-called Bidenomics is really working. Again, I think a lot of average Americans don't need an economy degree to know that it's not. Friday jobs report claiming that in July, 114,000 jobs were added to the United States economy. This was far below the estimates. Joining us now to help break this down, our financial analyst, investor, and host of the Candy Valentino Show, the one and only Candy Valentino, along with the president of Strellmark Business Development Consultants, Hillary Fordwich. Ladies, good morning. Thank you for being with us. We'll start with you, Candy. Just how bad were the jobs numbers, and what does it all mean for the average American?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks so much. It's good to see you again. And I think that every American knows exactly how bad this is. And I think that we've all known prior to this report coming. We've seen inflation reports that seem like they're not so bad, but yet every single American that goes to the grocery store, goes to buy gas, goes to pay for insurance, every single cost of living has been up across the board forever. So it's almost insulting that they say, oh, the jobs report didn't come out so well. We have seen this. We know this. The American people know this. Every small business owner that I work with is feeling this. And everyone that is in the market looking for a job is feeling this too. It is a very stale market. I could tell you just a few years ago when we would post jobs available, we would just have, maybe a few dozen candidates. Now we have hundreds and can't even sort them. So this is a real issue. And I think all this report is telling us is what Americans already knew, that the economy is horrible. And this administration has done just about everything that they possibly could wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hillary, let's take a listen to Donald Trump when he responded and spoke about Bidenomics. Quickly, let's take a listen to that.
Yesterday, it was announced that unemployment is surging, with 350,000 Americans joining the unemployment rolls just last month. Tell you what, we could end up in a depression. We could end up in World War III and a depression. How about that? Under Harris-Biden policies, we now have the highest unemployment rate in 3 years. If Harris wins this election, you will quickly have a Kamala economic crash. You're going to have a crash. You could also have a crash like in 1929, more specifically, because that's where we're heading.
All right, Hillary, what's your reaction to that?
Sarah, pleasure to be back with you again. And Michael, well, first of all, it's terrible to have such a negative message. Voters don't like to vote for negative messages. Trump needs to stick on a message in terms of all the positives that he is going to deliver. But he's absolutely right. Candy's absolutely right as well. May I add, though, that one thing that has very quietly been reported, but the mainstream media, no one seems to be picking up on, is the jobs report from last year. Don't forget, they were revised down 11 months out of 12, down. And MarketWatch, an independent source, reckons that there were 439,000 fewer jobs than reported. Also, May and June jobs report has just been revised quietly down. So it's not only the facts and not only the consumer doesn't believe what we're being told, the consumer isn't hearing everything and all the negative news. So Trump is absolutely right. And I think those fear factors, though, are going to just put terror in Americans. What is important is, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Absolutely not. Stick on message, stick on what he's going to do. And may I add something that is very important as to what he's going to do? One of the reasons that there are 976,000 American companies headquartered in Ireland. Why do they go to Ireland? They don't go there for the rain. You know why they go to Ireland? Because the corporate tax rate is 12% and it's 21% in the US. His lowering the corporate tax rate brings back all of those companies, global companies and American companies. The more you tax something, the less you get. Let's lower taxes.
Well, Hillary, I got news for you. My father was 75% Irish. I got the Irish eyes, and I'll tell you, they go for the good whiskey. That's why they're in Ireland. All right, no, I want to get back to this. In all seriousness, I'll go to Candy. President Trump really wants to use energy as a way to really get the economy moving. And as we know, when we lower energy costs, when we become energy independent and you lower taxes, it affects people twice. Not only are they paying less, but they pay less for everything because your groceries, everything has to be transported. Those are all energy costs. So I think that's a big part of his platform for a reason.
Absolutely. And the reason it is because it works. We know we do not have to reinvent the wheel. This has all existed when we look back in history. To Hillary's point, when we look at what tax rates actually stimulate the economy, we know what they are. We don't have to guess. Dr. Art Laffer did an immense amount of work on this on the Laffer curve and knows that anywhere between 15 to 17%, when we lower taxes to that price and to that percentage, that we are actually going to collect more revenue. We're going to put more money into the American people's pocket, and it's going to continue to stimulate the economy. We know that it works, and we know that when we invest into energy and we start to bring all of that back onto our shores and not pay other countries to distribute it and export it back in, again, we know that that helps American people. That is a double win, to your point, where we are not only giving them more money in their pocket, but they're going to be able to spend their money more wisely and get more for their money. That is a win for the American people. That is the #1 issue for this election. And if it isn't, people need to reevaluate what they're actually looking at and making sure that they're not listening to mainstream media talking bites and getting emotional when this is a very rational election, as it should be.
Yeah.
We
do have to leave it there. Sorry, Hillary, but of course we'll have you back another time.
Absolutely.
Candy Valentino and Hillary Fordwich, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thanks.